Hello, I'm Maria. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. One small trigger warning for today's story. There's one mention of domestic abuse, I think. And then, if you don't think farts are funny, just click off this video. Thank you so much for listening, and let's get started. Okay, this one is from r/petty revenge. I've been mailing my toenail clippings to my childhood bully once a month for 11 years. No return address, no note. So this is weird and I've never told anyone, but here we go. When I was in middle school, there was this kid Marcus who made my life miserable. Like, not just regular bullying, he was creative about it. One time he convinced half our grade that I crapped myself at a sleepover that I wasn't even at. Another time he found out I had a crush on this girl Emily, and he asked her out specifically to tell me about it, in detail. Just cruel stuff constantly for 3 years. Anyway, fast forward to 2014. I'm in college and I haven't thought about Marcus in a while. I'm scrolling Facebook and I see his mom posted something about a garage sale and her address was right there in the post. I screenshot it. Don't know why, just did. So that night I'm clipping my toenails, watching TV, and I look at the little pile and I look at my phone with the screenshot and I just thought, I put them in an envelope. No note, no return address, mailed it the next day. Felt stupid immediately after. Figured that was it. Got it out of my system, whatever. Then a month later, I'm clipping my toenails again, and I just did it again. This is like that one audio. It's Dexter!
And it's going to happen again and again. Has to happen.
That was 11 years ago. I have not missed a single month. I've mailed them from different cities when I'm traveling for work. I don't even think about it that much anymore. It's just part of my routine now. First of the month, rent, and toenails. The thing is, I have no idea if he opens them or if he throws them away immediately, or if his wife opens the mail and has been hiding it from him for years. I have genuinely no idea, and honestly, I don't really care. Like, I'm not doing this for a reaction. I think I just like knowing that somewhere out there these envelopes exist. I looked him up recently and he's got a wife and kids now. Nice house, seems happy. Good for him, I guess. I found his new address when they moved a few years ago. Took like 10 minutes. Sometimes I wonder if I should stop. I have a decent job and a wife too and normal life stuff. And also once a month I mail my toenails to a man who was mean to me when we were 12. There's probably something wrong with me. Anyway, yeah, that's it. Felt like typing it out finally. Comments say, you should skip it 1 month, so he thinks he's finally free of toenails, then boom, 2 months worth of toenails in the next envelope. More than that, collect them for 6 months, then send a package, not a letter, with 6 months of toenails, edit, use Amazon packaging. Or in one of those envelopes that disperse whatever's inside it like a human glitter bomb. And then, of course, a Redditor says, ah yes, the forbidden Parmesan. That's beautiful. It's like I'm watching the Mona Lisa being painted, honestly. Except instead of Da Vinci or whoever it was, it's just some Redditor routinely clipping his toenails to send to his bully. And I think there's something beautiful about that. I think that says something about humanity that is just, I think we have to hold our pinkies for it. We have to hold space for it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for only doing the BAFE minimum when I got roped into babysitting? Obviously, it means bare minimum. But let's see what she's trying to talk about. My sister, 38, invited me over for a family meal. Our parents were there too. After dinner, my mom and I helped clean up while my dad and brother-in-law watched my nieces and nephew. Afterwards, my parents left. Then my sister and brother-in-law asked me if I could watch the kids for an hour while they went for a quick errand. I agreed. They got very dressed up for errands, but I didn't really ask. They've done this before. I didn't usually have anything going on, so I don't really mind. Today, I was clear that I had plans and 1 hour was my limit. My sister agreed to 1 hour. After an hour, I called and she didn't answer. Half an hour later, I texted my friends and said I couldn't make it. Then I proceeded to keep the kids alive. I felt I owed her that as family. Did I put them to sleep? No. Did I make them a snack rather than let them use the stove? Yes. Did I keep the little one from drawing on the walls while his other brother played Fortnite and the middle kid watched Stranger Things with me? Nope. I kept them alive. My sister got home a little after 1 a.m. Nephew was still playing Fortnite, middle kid and I were still binging Stranger Things. Little one was passed out on their bed. I got up and left. I've been hearing about it for a few days now about how irresponsible I am. That 12 is too young for such a scary show, that my nephew has limited screen time, that they still haven't gotten the drawings off the walls. My parents are getting involved as well. I really don't care. I was told 1 hour. I agreed to 1 hour. I felt that I did a great job for 1 hour. Not really my problem after that. So 4 people think I'm being an a-hole, 3 kids had a great night, and I think they won't try it again. Jeepers cripes. This sounds like something I would do. No, actually, I probably wouldn't. I love my sister, and she wouldn't do that to me. One comment says, not the a-hole. In fact, so not the a-hole that I really don't know how your parents could be getting involved without immediately taking your side. Then a reply says, because sister got her version of the story first. Another comment says, at one point when I was a kid, I saw my little brother take a steak knife to the armchair my parents had reupholstered in Naga hide, which is like that fake leather, super high quality stuff. When I yelled at him to stop, my mom hollered from the kitchen to quit yelling at your brother. She wouldn't listen to me about what he was doing, so I quit yelling at him and he made several cuts in the armchair. She was beside herself when she saw the damage. My attitude was, you told me to shut up and I did. Best malicious compliance I ever did. I'm gonna give this story, entertainment-wise, a 5 out of 10. I could care more and I could care less. Yeah, next story. Alright, next one is from r/pettyrevenge. Office microwave thief stopped when I made it inconvenient, not spicy. This happened at a small office, nothing dramatic. We had a shared fridge and one microwave, and someone kept taking other people's leftovers. Not whole meals every time, more annoying than that. Like half a portion missing. Who the heck does that? Sorry. Or the good part gone, or the container put back like nothing happened. Everyone complained, nobody ever caught the person, and management did the usual email about labels and respecting others. It kept happening. I got tired of it because it was always my food that went missing. Probably because I cooked things that smelled so good. I did not want to do the classic laxative or hot sauce thing. I just wanted it to stop. So I started packing my lunch in the most inconvenient way possible. I bought a set of tiny containers, and instead of one box of food, I split it into, oh my gosh. I split it into 6 or 7 little ones. Sorry. Rice in one, chicken in another, sauce in 2, veggies in another. So I taped all of them together with painter's tape so it looked like a weird brick. On top, I wrote very neatly, if you open this, you have to retape it the same way. The next day I came back at lunch and the tape was cut and the little containers were scattered in the fridge, but nothing was taken. I think their issue is that they have a little mischievous gnome in their office. A little goblin, because I can't see any rational human being. Well, there are a lot of non-rational human beings, but any human being with a soul doing that. Okay, the day after that, the whole taped brick was still untouched and exactly as I left it. After about a week, my food stopped being targeted completely. I think the thief was not brave, just lazy, and my food stopped being an easy win. It was petty because it was extra work for me, but it worked without poisoning anyone or starting a big office drama. Honestly, for that first box, they still should have put hot sauce and laxatives in their lunch. Because, oh, that would have been so good. Imagine the person, you're a little goblin. You have no pants on, just a belt with some various tools, and you're looking for gold. Instead of gold, it's actually just people's food in the fridge. But you open the fridge and you get to this taped brick, screw it. And you open it and you take little nibbles, but then you actually end up pooping your pants when you get home. Or better yet, in the office. And then everyone, oh my gosh! That if nobody's finding the culprit, then why aren't they putting laxatives? Because then you'll know. Then you'll have to know. Anyways. One comment says, I've always put my lunch in an insulated box at my desk, but one coworker was so insistent I put my food in the fridge. I was like, for what? Just for it to be stolen? He was so offended, and that's how we found out he was the culprit. You should have known that he was the culprit because he probably had green skin and a super long nose. So that's on you, actually. That's on your office. Am I the a-hole for telling my friend that it's her fault the friend group stopped inviting her to things? Oof! Hey, don't hurt him, don't hurt him. So I'm told that I'm TA towards the way I treated my friend. What is T? Guys, what does TA mean? I'll put it on the screen. I don't think I am, but I'm second guessing myself, so I came here for second opinions. So my friend, who we'll call Stacy, is very attached to her husband. OP being 35 female and Stacy being 36 female. Our whole friend group are married, engaged, or just dating, but we still make time for each other. When we would go to events, we always invited her, but she would come up with an excuse and say she'd rather be around her kids, or say ask her another time. Sorry to say, but she doesn't know how to have fun without wanting her kids around. I understand because I have kids too. I went far to ask her if her husband was making her decisions because he's a very dominant man and treats her like a slave and she obeys him. All right. Yikes. I understand why she is because she's been with him since she was 16 and he was 19. Yikes. Okay. 16 to 19 doesn't sound bad, but when you're a sophomore in high school, potentially dating like a college freshman... Cut the cameras. Cut the cameras, we're done. Sorry. That's why we tried to get her out of the house so she doesn't have to be around him so much. But she told me no and to get off her husband's back. Told me I crossed the line and I never said anything else. After that situation, we still invited her, but the excuses still came. We did an all-girls night, but she thought it was a good idea to bring her husband? I feel like that was the point we should have stopped it. As her friends, we tried everything, but she doesn't know life outside her kids and husband anymore. I actually miss the old her when she would spend time with us, even with her kids. So my whole friend group stopped telling her about events and slowly pulled away from her because she never replied to our messages until days later, or she would have an attitude. My group just continued to have fun with each other, planning whenever we had the time. So the girls and I planned to go on a trip to Trinidad, where I'm from. We've been planning it right after I had my son. My friend posted a picture of her suitcase full of clothes, and the caption read, "Can't wait to go on this trip with my favorite girls." Genuinely in my head, I thought it was cute. Nothing shady at all, but Stacy felt it was. I think this is funny because the other girl could have posted that about literally any other group of people, but then Stacy saw it as a direct attack on her, like, they didn't invite me. Continuing. Surprisingly, she contacted me because our other friend didn't answer her. She was highly upset and told me why she wasn't invited or in the planning, told me that we were selfish for leaving her out. I thought it was weird because we always invited her for things and she never made it or made excuses. Friendship is a two-way street, so if one person isn't putting in that effort, then we kind of get tired of trying to know the outcome. But what was weird was that she would post her other friends and show her outside having fun. She probably just didn't want to spend time with us. I told her in the nicest way that it's not our fault, but hers, because she's bailed on us even though we've continued to invite her. She blew up with anger. When she's angry, she starts crying, which is what she did. She had her mom calling me to cuss me out, saying I'm a sick human being. Mind you, this was all over a post I didn't do. I already blocked her and her mother because honestly, it's been toxic. I should have dropped it long ago. I think it's so insane. They're like, Mom, get in here. And then your mom cusses your friend out. One comment says, what is she in middle school running to mom when someone tells her something she doesn't want to hear? Not the a-hole. So I don't think, obviously I don't know, but if I had to say, I don't think she's being controlled by her husband. She just doesn't really like her friends that much. Or at least they stop entertaining her to the point where she's like, okay, it's like Andy dropping the toy. I don't want to play with you anymore. And now she has her cooler friends. But she still doesn't want to accept the fact that she has dropped her friends. Now she's upset that they're like, okay, if you want to stop playing with us, we'll stop playing with you too, bro. I'm not your bruh. This one seems kind of silly. All right. We get a little silly around here. Am I the a-hole for kicking my bro's mom out of the group chat? I have a group chat with my dad's side of the family that includes my brother, grandma, uncle, and dad. A few months ago, my older half-brother decided to add his mom to the chat. This is my dad's ex-wife, his first marriage. I thought it was odd as this chat was just really everyone in our immediate family, and my mom, my dad's second ex-wife, was not in it, nor would she want to be. My dad wishes us a good night every day, and since then, she has been one of the first people to respond to the group chat. My dad also found it odd that my brother invited her, but didn't want to cause drama by removing her. Anyway, I'm getting married in a few months and sent a picture of my wedding dress to the family. In the background of the picture, you can see another wedding dress that was almost my pick, except it had a few details that I wasn't crazy about. It was an unconventional wedding dress, but I really loved it, and it was a close second choice. Soon after I sent it, I was talking to my grandma, and she mentioned that she was talking to my brother's mom on the phone, and she called the background dress really ugly. I am offended by this, as it was very nearly the dress I chose, and I thought that calling it ugly was unnecessary and judgmental. I understand it not being everyone's taste, but calling it ugly hurt my feelings. As a result, I removed my brother's mom from the group chat because I don't like the idea of people in the chat making mean comments about things we post. I view it as a safe space for our immediate family. Am I the a-hole for giving her the boot? One comment says, since she is no longer related to anyone in the group chat except her son, it doesn't make sense for her to be in it. OP responds, I agree. There's a long family history/drama where my mom and I were treated very poorly for being from my dad's second marriage. We're Catholic, so my grandma is very close to her. She and my brother lived with my grandparents for my entire childhood. I should mention our dad was in both of our lives, so I'm scared that everyone will be mad at me for kicking her out. Yeah, I think the real question is why is the grandma saying that?
Yeah, my former daughter-in-law said your dress was ugly. What do you think about that, huh? Huh? Does that make you mad?
At that age, some people are still trying to stir drama. It's just silly. Next story, this one sounds like a doozy. Am I the a-hole for changing my niece's stripper name when I got custody? I think it will become very obvious that my sister and I have taken very different paths in life. I love her very much, but she is not well. I've had custody of my niece since she was 6 months old. My sister is going to jail for at least the next 7 years. She is ineligible for parole that long, so that's a minimum. My niece's name is a perfect example of my sister's thought process. Honest to God, she named her Cinnamon. Synnamine, pronounced cinnamon. I've had my sister's parental rights severed. My parents and her fought me on it. Why are you fighting on that? She's in jail for 7 years. Don't care, my parents have never contributed to her upbringing, but they have given lots of unwanted advice. I adopted my daughter and changed her name to Simone. My parents think I'm being cruel to my sister. What my sister thinks is not allowed here. So I feel completely justified in changing her name. I do not think I'm wrong. I am not looking for validation. I want to know if I'm missing something that my parents and sister can't communicate coherently. OP is not pulling any punches. Why are you posting this on Am I the A-hole when you know you're not? I don't know, man. I thought this was the case too. A comment says, I completely misunderstood the title and thought OP had just found a better stripper name for their niece. One comment says, I taught English overseas for a few years. Students took an English name. It seems that a book of 100-year-old British names gets passed around in primary school, and many take a name from that. So I taught a lot of people with names like Tom, Victor, Florence, Amelia, etc. A handful would make their own name, which resulted in some interesting ones. At uni, I had female students named Girl, Secret, and Bob. A guy named Greenleaf, he adored Lord of the Rings and named himself after Legolas. The name means green leaf. And one guy who named himself Puchi, pronounced as a single syllable. Puchi. Alright. But at least half of the girls gave themselves stripper names because the literal meaning was something sweet, cute, or valuable. Candy was number 1 by a mile, followed by Kitty and Crystal. But I also met so many named Jade, Amber, Cherry, Coco. Okay, I didn't know half of these were stripper names. Continuing, and I couldn't do anything about it. There's just no way that it was appropriate for a middle-aged white guy to say to a girl/woman between 14 and 22 that she has a stripper name. But best I could do was recommend at the start of each semester or intake that students hit the net, search popular baby names for their year of birth, choose one from the top 100, then let me know at the next lesson. That would ensure it's a widely recognized name that is appropriate for their generation. Then it says, please forgive me, future people, for a generation of non-native speakers named Jaden, Braden, Caden, and McKinsley. This is funny. I was on vacation, right? And our tour guide, okay, he was wearing a hat and sunglasses, so you couldn't really tell, what exactly he looked like. And he spoke perfect English. And he said his name was Caleb. And I'm like, so, do you live here on the island? Or, where are you from? And he's like, no, I'm an islander. I've been living here for generations. I just look and sound white. And I was like, well, it doesn't help that your name is Caleb. And then he explained to me, oh, it's the Spanish version, so it's actually Caleb. I just felt bad. So Caleb, if you're watching, I'm sorry. A comment replying to them says, I was teaching overseas in 2016, and most kids had those kinds of names, but we had not one but 2 Iron Mans. I told them Iron Man's name was Tony, but they didn't believe me. Another one says, my cousin taught elementary school in South Carolina for many years and kept track of the interesting names. Hall of Fame, she had a kid in her class named Mustarda. No lie, another kid was named Ketchupa. Oh my gosh. All right, enough with stripper names. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend to go ask to be adopted by the couple she is so obsessed with? My girlfriend Katie made a new friend a few months ago, Mary. Katie talked about her a lot. Mary said this, did that, started teaching her something, etc. I thought it was a bit weird how much Katie seemed to look up to Mary, but I didn't think much of it until Mary's husband, Joe, entered the picture too. From then on, Katie talked about their relationship all the time. How they do things, how they divide the chores, how respectful they are to each other, basically how they are just the best couple ever. I've met them and they are honestly nothing special, maybe a bit on the boring side even. Yesterday evening, Katie was once again going on about them, saying things like Mary and Joel are true soulmates and theirs is the healthiest relationship she had ever seen, blah, 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 blah. I had a really long day at work, so I told her I don't want to hear about them. I don't care about her creepy crush on this random couple, but if she likes them so much, she should go and ask them to adopt her or ask if she can be their third. Katie then gave me the cold shoulder and left to go home to her apartment instead of sleeping at my place like she was supposed to. I need to know if I'm right and if her obsession is creepy or if I'm not seeing something right and I'm the a-hole here. This dude legit says she left to her apartment and didn't sleep at mine like she was quote-unquote supposed to. Hello? Top comment says, you're the a-hole, my friend. She's trying to tell you what she wants out of your relationship without hurting you or making you feel defensive. I would agree, but perchance she can be a little more direct. Another comment says, you're the a-hole. Bet Joe would never tell Mary to shut up. Do you often feel threatened from hearing that other people have their crap together? Katie was talking about her friends. That's pretty normal conversation. You're taking it personally. Why? Do you think Katie is trying to tell you something? Update, she finally texted me back. She wrote a long message saying that she tried everything with me and she thought if she was patient and clear about her needs, I would eventually change for her. But she realized, thanks to Mary and Joe, that it's not her job to raise a man and get her boyfriend to respect her. She wrote a lot of other things about Mary too, like that Mary is truly proud of her husband and looks up to him. Meanwhile, Katie, can't find it in herself to look up to me in anything, and so on. So, yeah, I hope you all are happy. You got what you wanted. Okay, this is just like classic a-hole. It does not belong in Am I the Devil or anything. This is just like classic a-hole behavior.
Women, am I right?
Okay, next story.
This is from r/confession. I have lied to my son about manatees for the last 24 years. 24 years ago, my 6-year-old son got me a birthday present. It was a mug with a picture of a manatee on it. He got upset when I wasn't sufficiently thrilled with his gift. I assured him that I loved it, saying that manatees were my favorite animals in the whole wide world. Since then, manatee-themed items have been my default gift from him. Manatee shirts, manatee calendars, manatee that's a tongue twister. Manatee beer steins, and so much more. 24 years of manatee items displayed proudly in my home. My confession is that manatees are not my favorite animal in the whole wide world. Never have been. I have nothing against them, and they seem like gentle creatures, but they hold no fascination for me. I only said I loved manatees to soothe the feelings of my young son over 2 decades ago. Year after year, I rolled with the lie because it was harmless and I was too deep in to tell him the truth. Now my deception has reached its zenith. Terraria reference? Moving on, next year I'm turning 55 and he is turning 30. For Christmas, my son has booked a trip for the 2 of us to go to Florida to see manatees. Oh my god, I saw this coming. My son is so excited for this trip and is telling everyone in our family about it. Even my ex-wife is gushing about my trip to finally see the manatees. Of course, I am thrilled to spend time and have an adventure with my son. I am grateful for his thoughtfulness and love for his old man. We will have a lovely time together and make great memories. And I will continue the deception about the manatees, which are not my favorite animals in the whole wide world. One of the comments says, "You're gonna have to take this secret to your grave, I'm afraid." A grave with a manatee on it. Okay, next one, also from r/confessions. When I was 15 and 16 and worked at a restaurant, I did something extremely petty to a prejudiced guest. When I was 15, I worked at a restaurant. I am 55 male now. Wow, you're still thinking about that. This was in a racist part of the United States. I've had customers treat me poorly and say straight up racist things to me. I would run food out to the tables. I had this one group of people dining in one night. They were extremely nasty towards me before I even spoke to them. It was a father, his wife, and 3 children. I walked out to them with their food and started to put it on the table, and the dad called me a word I can't say here. That day, I had really bad stomach problems and gas. I let out multiple silent farts as I was passing out the food, and I stayed there as long as I could. I could tell they were smelling it as their faces changed. The father of the table started gagging. What are you eating, bro? As I walked away, he was upset and dry heaving from how bad the smell was. He said, "What the heck is that smell?" I had to hold in my laughter, and I chuckled as soon as I got to the back. I felt bad because the other guest in the dining room complained about the smell too. I felt bad for the rest of the guests, but my stomach felt better. Alright, there's really no legal punishment for racists, but if there were to be, they should just be subjected to this guy's farts. At least once. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. If you had any stories you'd like me to read, feel free to email me with either your story or a link to the story. That would be awesome. I will definitely see it because, first of all, I don't have a life. Second of all, this is my first video, so only one of those things will be changing. I will be putting out more videos. Just a disclaimer, make sure whatever you're sending me is PG-13. If you happen to perchance like my voice, I am a voice actor and you can find me on Fiverr or Casting Call Club. Anyways, have a great day. Thank you so much for listening and perchance consider subscribing. Enjoy a few of my bloopers. I thought it was odd as this chat was just really everyone in our immediately sorry. Oh my gosh. Specialization. Oh, friendship is two ways.